series between the struggling Atlanta Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals, who are 12-7. Last night, the Cardinals kept him in check in his St. Louis debut. Jason Hayward went 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Let's recap the game. The Cardinals would win it 4-3. Kyle Loesch grinding through 6 innings. Good work by the bullpen. We moved to the 7th. Colby Rasmus made it 3-2. The Cardinals would tie it up. And then Yadier Molina with the game-winning RBI. This made it 4-3. That would be the final. And that's all that Ryan Franklin, the Cardinals closer, would need as he picked up his 7th save. Cardinals win it 4-3. And with Al Hrabosky, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. And once again, Al, the Cardinals win the first game of a series.
It's so important. They can win that first game, then it's really easy to win one out of the next 2. You lose that first game, then you have to win both of the next 2 to take that series. Another real key for the Cardinals is scoring first. When they score first, they're 7-1 on the early season.
And how about your expectations tonight?
Well, I think Carpenter's going to go out there. I'm not worried about whether he sets a... Yeah. Go to Loesch.
Okay, so you want me to go right to that then? Okay, sorry about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
First screw up of the night for you. That's pretty good.
It's a rarity, Al.
Yeah, I know. Pretty good.
The following is a presentation of Fox Sports.
It's a gorgeous night for baseball here in downtown St. Louis. Game 2 between the struggling Atlanta Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals, who are 5 games above the 500 mark. Jason Hayward 0 for 3 in his St. Louis debut last night here at Busch Stadium with a strikeout and a walk. So they held him in check. The Cardinals would win it 4-3. Kyle Loesch grinded through 6 innings. The starter. Then in the 7th, down 3-1. Rasmus a solo home run. That would make it 3-2. Cardinals would then tie it up. And then Yadier Molina with the game-winning RBI. Ground rule double. That scored Pujols to make it 4-3. And that would be the final as Ryan Franklin would pick up his 7th save of the year. And welcome to Game 2 tonight here on Fox Sports Midwest with Al Hrabosky. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Al, there were so many good things to talk about in that ball game last night. Give me the most impressive thing that you saw from the Cardinals.
Well, you're right about so many good things. You know, a lot of the hitters did a lot of things, but they're expected to do that. Kyle Loesch struggled early in the ball game, but maybe one of the keys was what he did the last couple innings. He reverted back to his pitching form of 2008, taking the ball over his head in his windup, and he got results. That is something that he didn't do last year because of the forearm. He said he got off to a good start. He felt good in spring training, but he has not been getting the results, so he reverted back to his career year of 2008. If we can get Kyle Loesch going in the right direction, then we have all 5 of our starters really pitching extremely well. You can expect to win every given night.
All right, let's talk about tonight. It's Chris Carpenter going against Derek Lowe. Lowe, the sinker baller. Carpenter, back-to-back games with 10 strikeouts. How about your expectations for Game 2?
Well, I expect whenever he takes them out, he's going to win. He's getting very competitive. He pitches well. He did struggle last year against the Atlanta Braves, but this is a struggling team, as you mentioned. Their batting averages are very anemic, and I look for Carpenter to be very fine point, keep the ball out of the middle of the plate.
Game 2 between the Cardinals and the Braves. Okay, we're done. It's a gorgeous night for baseball here in downtown St. Louis. Game 2 between the struggling Atlanta Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals, who are 5 games above the 500 mark. Jason Hayward 0 for 3 in his St. Louis debut last night here at Busch Stadium with a strikeout and a walk. So they held him in check. The Cardinals would win it 4-3. Kyle Loesch grinded through 6 innings. The starter. Then in the 7th, down 3-1. Rasmus a solo home run. That would make it 3-2. Cardinals would then tie it up. And then Yadier Molina with the game-winning RBI. Ground rule double. That scored Pujols to make it 4-3. And that would be the final as Ryan Frankman would pick up his 7th save of the year. And welcome to Game 2 tonight here on Fox Sports Midwest with Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Al, there were so many good things to talk about in that ball game last night. Give me the most impressive thing that you saw from the Cardinals.
Well, you're right about so many good things. A lot of the hitters did a lot of things, but they're expected to do that. Kyle Loesch struggled early in the ball game, but maybe one of the keys was what he did the last couple innings. He reverted back to his pitching form of 2008, taking the ball over his head in his windup, and he got results. That is something that he didn't do last year because of the forearm. He said he got off to a good start. He felt good in spring training, but he has not been getting the results, so he reverted back to his career year of 2008. If we can get Kyle Loesch going in the right direction, then we have all 5 of our starters really pitching extremely well. You can expect to win every given night.
All right, let's talk about tonight. It's Chris Carpenter going against Derek Lowe. Lowe, the sinker baller. Carpenter, back-to-back games with 10 strikeouts. How about your expectations for Game 2?
Well, I expect whenever he takes the mound, he's going to win. He's getting very competitive. He pitches well. He did struggle last year against the Atlanta Braves, but this is a struggling team, as you mentioned. Their batting averages are very anemic, and I look for Carpenter to be very fine point, keep the ball out of the middle of the plate, and really have his pitches down in the zone.
All right, looking forward to this one. It's Game 2 between the Cardinals and the Braves. A closer look at big number 29, Chris Carpenter, when we come back. year will start on opening day in Cincinnati and a win against the Reds.
He got a win that night. He gave up 2 solo home runs, a little uncharacteristic, a little bit off, but still Carpenter-like. Game 2 was not Carpenter-like. He really struggled. He left a lot of balls in the middle of the plate. He was hit hard, 3 home runs in that game. His third start, he gets back to the winning ways. As he pitches against the Mets, he gives up 1 run, no earned runs, and he strikes out 10. And that set up Game 4, as he strikes out 10 again. The first time in his career he's had back-to-back 10-game strikeouts. What will he do here tonight?
So it's Carpenter against Derek Lowe, the former Boston Red Sox player and pitcher who has pitched history, meaning a no-no. We'll talk about that for Derek Lowe when we come back to Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Now, hitting coach for Atlanta, they're trying to turn things around offensively. But on the mound tonight, they've got a sinker baller in Derek Lowe. Now, he has been a closer at one point in his career, now a starter for the Braves. Overall, 144 and 118, 9 complete games and 293 starts. One of those complete games, Al, he made history 8 years ago at Fenway Park with our Schnooks. This date in baseball history in a no-hitter.
That was the first no-hitter at Fenway Park since 1965. He throws 1 over the minimum facing the Rays that day, 97 pitches. Historic moment for him, but he's always been a winner. The last 8 seasons, he's won at least 12 games, 3-1 this season, but he has struggled against the Cardinals.
So that was history 8 years ago for Derek Lowe. When we come back to Busch Stadium, tell you about a special man here at the ballpark. Also, 5 and 55 coming up. And that's Derek Johnson, pictured right there. Works every day here at the ballpark. We thank him for his great service to the Cardinals. And let's take a look at our 5 and 55. We begin with the right-hander, Derek Lowe.
Well, Derek Lowe is a ground ball specialist. He's got a tremendous sinker. He's won 3 of his first 4 decisions, ERA over 5. How about Yadier Molina? He came through in the clutch last night. His first game-winning hit. We're so used to seeing him come through the clutch, but look at the difference in batting average from a year ago. Somebody that's not having problems hitting is Martin Prado. He's leading the major leagues with a .392 average. He's a big part of their offense right now. Whenever you talk about the Atlanta Braves, you always have to include Chipper Jones. Is he a Hall of Famer? Only thing we do know is he has 428 lifetime home runs and success against Carpenter. The 7 and 8 hitters have really had problems for the Cardinals. A combined 174 batting average. Maybe that's why Carpenter is batting 8th tonight.
Derek Johnson, thanks for your work with the Cardinals and with us night in and night out. Getting you ready for Game 2. Baseball is coming up. A crisp, clean finish, it's what we do. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. By Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. And by Chevy's expert auto service. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers or shop and compare at stlchevy.com. Central Library here in downtown St. Louis. Matter of fact, I had a taping of an interview with Buzz Bissinger and Tony La Russa there a couple years ago in Tony's book, 3 Nights in August.
Always wanted to go into a library.
Got to be able to read, Al. Let's take a look at the lineup for the Atlanta Braves. Escobar, Prado, and Jones. Then McCann, Gloss, Hayward, Cabrera, McLeod, and Lowe. That's our Southwest Airlines starting lineup for the Atlanta Braves. And Al will read the Marshall Wireless Sprint starter, Chris Carpenter, partner.
Thank you, partner. Hey, team high 5th start here for Chris Carpenter, 2-0. ERA a little bit high for last year's ERA champion in the National League. And we'll see Carpenter's had back-to-back 10 strikeout performances last 2 starts. We'll see how he fares here tonight.
And so we're at Busch Stadium here in St. Louis. Escobar leads it off, and the first pitch is popped foul and out of play. And I kid you, because when we're on the plains, you're always getting caught up in the news and reading books, and you're a very well-versed analyst in Major League Baseball.
And I was at Brighton North Elementary School today talking to kids about the value of reading.
There's a ground ball, slowly hit to short, gobbled up by Brendan Ryan, and away. You do a great job with that school program. You and Joe Cunningham, Andy Bennis now part of that. Of course, Fredberg, great way to take in an afternoon with the kids. Here's Holiday, Rasmus, and Ludwig in the outfield. It's Freeze, Ryan, Schumacher, and Pujols along the infield. Carpenter, Molina, the battery tonight. And the defense is brought to you by Dobbs. And for people that don't know about that, Al, it's something that probably we should point out, is that any kid or school can write to the Cardinals and ask you and your team of associates to come by and make a speech and talk about the different things that you do with your school program.
We come with a boss. That's Fredberg.
He is the boss.
It really is a tremendous program started by Joe Cunningham better than 20 years ago. And I started doing it about 10 years ago. And by the way, I hear Joe is really recovering well from his hip replacement surgery and going to be back at schools later this month.
That's great news.
Yeah, but it's free to the schools. So it's something we wish they'd take advantage of. It's 3 basic messages: stay in school, participate in sports, and it's really evolved into an anti-drug message, which is very important. Unfortunately, it's needed in the elementary schools.
Here's Prado into shallow center, and Rasmus makes the catch as he comes on to make the play. It's a late jump there by Colby Rasmus, but put away for out number 2, and a good start here for Carpenter.
That's kind of what we expect, isn't it? And, you know, Chris had one of his worst games last season, probably his absolute worst during the regular season. Very uncharacteristic. He gave up 7 earned runs against the Braves, but I'm sure he's going to come out and atone for that.
So Chipper Jones, a switch hitter, hitting from the left side with 2 outs and nobody on. There's that very good curveball from Chris Carpenter.
A hitter goes up there, you know, you really don't look for that get-ahead breaking ball, so you concede it. And if you can throw it for strike 1, and then he tries to repeat it a little bit, maybe a little bit harder, and it looks like our home plate umpire, Mark Wegner, might have missed that one, so it looked awfully tempting.
Misses just on the outside corner, 2 balls and a strike. Chipper Jones, really the face of the Atlanta Braves. Kind of handing that over to Jason Hayward, their right fielder, who's only 20 years of age. We talked about him extensively last night. Chipper's been dealing with a side issue, and he's ahead in the count here, 3 balls and a strike.
And moved into sole possession, 39th place in the all-time home run list with 428.
And that's a walk, and Carpenter stares back into the home plate umpire and questions the strike zone there on Chipper.
Well, it was outside, but I mean, as the game goes along, he's hoping that he can convince the home plate umpire that that's where I'm trying to hit these spots. I'm not trying to stay it out of the middle. And Brian McCann, a little slow start, but boy, you see, he's been an offensive weapon the last few years.
Was over 3 with an RBI last night. And Kyle Loesch, the Cardinal starter, was able to grind through the 6 innings. And you talked about that being probably the most important thing that we saw in the Cardinals win last night. The fact that Loesch may have discovered something with his delivery, but also gave you 6 innings and kept his team in the game.
That's it. You know, a starting pitcher just has that assignment. If he can go out there, get to the second half, or really, you know, pitch 2/3 of the game, keep his team in the game, give them a chance to come from behind. That's all you can ask.
Probably the best to describe it, grind it.
Very really good, you know, and got better as the last couple innings as he changed his mechanics.
Wasn't that interesting to hear about that this morning? And Kyle Loesch was in a conversation with John Smoltz, who's working on the Atlanta side on television. Before the game, he said, man, I've never felt that good where I just wasn't getting calls. I thought I was making good pitches, and obviously those pitches were balls, but yet I felt great, which is good to see. High strike, but called on McCann, and the first strikeout of the night for Chris Carpenter. Allows a walk. Jones stranded. Young crowd still coming in. There's no score. Getting the start tonight for St. Louis, looking for his third win of the year. We're at Busch Stadium on a gorgeous night. Glad you're with us here on Fox Sports Midwest, your home of Cardinals baseball. Look at Tony La Russa's lineup, presented by Southwest Airlines. And yes, the pitcher is back batting eighth. It's Schumacher, Ludwig, and Pujols. Then Holiday, Rasmus Molina, Freese, Chris Carpenter, the eighth place hitter. And Brendan Ryan drops down to ninth. And the Cardinals face Derek Lowe. And Lowe is 3-1 on the year. Ground ball specialist, Al, when he's right.
He really is. He's got a tremendous sinker. He has struggled for whatever reason against the Cardinals. 1-6 ERA, approaching 7. And I'm sure right there he'd like to get that ball down. Sinkers don't work up in the zone.
We were talking about Loesch and not feeling 100% in his previous starts, meaning physically he was fine, but mechanically a little bit out of whack. And Schumacher is hitting just .214. He was 0 for 2 last night. But last night for Kyle Loesch, he started to feel a little bit better mechanically. And even though maybe the results weren't quite there where he thought they might be, still a good outing for him.
Well, the last couple innings, what he did is he reverted back to his windup of 2008. That's when he had his career year and parlayed it into that nice contract. And what he did back then is he used to take the ball in the windup and raise it over his head. Well, he started out this season pitching like he did last year, where because of the forearm injury he had, he kept the ball higher up around his chest, trying not to have too much movement with the forearm. And, you know, he just wasn't getting the results.
Handled there by Escobar, and that's the kind of year it's been so far for Schumacher, and a hard hit ball off the glove of Lowe into the shortstop, Yanel Escobar, for the out. Let's meet the Atlanta Braves defensively tonight with Melky Cabrera, the former Yankee, then McLeod and Hayward, Chipper Jones, Escobar, Prado, and Gloss, the former Cardinal, and Derek Lowe and Brian McCann, the battery tonight, presented by Dobbs.
And to finish that point of the story, I said, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but why didn't you go back and start the season that way?
I was wondering the same thing.
You know, I mean, just common sense. And he said, well, I felt so good. You know, I felt good delivering it that way. I was healthy and I felt good about it. I just wasn't making the pitches or location. So he, not being stubborn, late in that ball game, he reverted back to the 2008 form, and he had couple shutout innings there, and really allowed no hits his couple innings of work, and so hopefully we found something.
And you might remember in the fifth, even Tony La Russa had somebody getting loose, and he was able to get through the fifth and then the sixth.
I remember it was like after 4, his pitch count was almost in the 90s,
yes.
And then he finished under, you know, or it was close, I guess probably in the 80s, but he finished under 100. So much more efficient.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Ludwig, who's hitting .292 with 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. 2 of the 3 home runs coming against Danny Herron last week. Ludwig out in front of the plate. Lowe will step and throw for out number 2. Take a look at our Toyota keys to the game. It's this trio of Ludwig, Holiday, and Pujols. Combined totals 31 for 62 and 4 home runs, so 500 between these 3.
Dan, it brings up an interesting point. Is I was talking with Mark McGuire, and I said, well, obviously, sinker ball pitcher, you want him to get the ball up. He also said another thing that happens against the sinker ball pitcher is a lot of times you have a stop and go swing.
What does that mean?
Well, you see the ball and you start your swing, and then you realize that it's going to bottom out, and you kind of slow down. He said that's the opposite of what you have to do. What you want to do is really swing even more aggressively, because pound the ball through the infield, but hopefully it finds a hole or it's hit so sharply that the defense can't make a play.
1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs and nobody on for Albert Pujols. 2-1.
We talked a little bit about, you know, Albert's up to the plate, but he's been guilty of it too, of expanding his zone, and the opposite of what Mac is teaching. You know, it's just right now it's poor pitch selection.
Here's a ground ball hit to short. Escobar backhands. He's got a very strong arm, and Pujols retired. 3 ground ball outs for the ground ball specialist, Derek Lowe. No score after 1. Cure team and Blues players and our good friend broadcaster John Kelly will join team members at Scott Trade Center for a pre-race festivity and party on Saturday, June 12th. For info and to join the Blues in Fox Sports Midwest, go to foxsportsmidwest.com. All the festivities on June 12th. Troy Gloss, the former Cardinal, then Hayward and Cabrera switch hitter. Troy Gloss off to a slow start, even though he was 2 for 3 last night. Average above 200 at 210. Couple of home runs, 9 RBIs. Cardinals felt that they could afford to let Gloss go after last season with the emergence of David Freese. David, both defensively and offensively, they feel that he can handle the load. So far, so good. Here's a 1-1 pitch. And the count goes to 3-1. Carpenter walked a man in the first. That was Chipper Jones, and he was left stranded. Of course, we consider Chris Carpenter one of the best in the business.
No doubt about it. And you look at his record, and it proves the fact. Second walk, now that's uncharacteristic.
And it brings in Jason Hayward. How about the hotbed that Atlanta has turned into, or at least the area of the city and the surrounding areas for Major League, not only prospects, but Major League players. It's amazing all the players that have come from that era.
Well, they have good weather there, so it's a southern city, but the success of the Braves under Bobby Cox and that string of 14 consecutive postseason appearances really has had an impact on the youth there, because now there are so many, not only Atlanta Braves, but there's so many Georgia products that are in the major leagues right now. I have to say they got turned on watching Braves baseball.
1 ball, 1 strike on Hayward with a runner at first.
Cardinals have 2 of them, and Wainwright and Boggs.
Hayward from that area. Jeff Francoeur, Blaine Boyer, who was a roommate of Adam Wainwright's in the minor leagues, coming up through the Atlanta system.
Isn't Brian McCann from there too?
I believe so. Be interesting to see what happens with John Smoltz. I mentioned earlier that he is working on the TV side for the Braves. But is he a guy that in the second half of this year, he keeps himself in very good shape? Would a team be willing to take a flyer on a future Hall of Famer?
Maybe the Writers' Cup.
Pretty good golfer. Here's a ground ball. Takes a weird hop. Out at first and nearly out at second. And Brendan Ryan almost was able to get the double play.
Well, it was a smart play, heads-up play by Brendan Ryan, and I'm not too sure Troy Gloss wasn't out. It's an athletic play by Schumacher, catching the wide throw and playing the tag. Gets he out there. Now it has to be a tag play. He's out.
Yes, he is.
He's definitely out. And look at that. He tags him, and his hand had not gotten to the base first. Dale Scott, our crew chief, out there at second base. But that was an athletic play by Schumacher, jumping over the runner and tagging as catching the ball.
Here's Cabrera. He looks at a strike. Melky Cabrera, the former New York Yankee, last night went 2 for 4, runner in scoring position here for the Atlanta Braves.
Gloss was heading back to second base, as didn't have that secondary lead as the ball got away from Molina and he couldn't advance.
Nice article done today in the Post-Dispatch, local paper here in town, on Whitey Herzog made a trek to Cooperstown.
I know Whitey has to be so excited and richly deserved.
Article done by the Hall of Famer Rick Hummel of the Post-Dispatch, and taking another look at that very close play at second.
Watch this throw here. He's a little bit wide, but look at the athleticism as he tags him. That hand had not reached the bag. It was up over the bag, so he should have been out.
1-2 pitch from Carpenter, misses low and in. We haven't seen the pinpoint control of Chris Carpenter this year, but he's so good. He's had back-to-back games in which he has struck out 10.
But you know, the one thing now is at least he's missing out of the middle of the plate. You know.
Here's a ground ball into center field. Gloss being waved in. The throw by Rasmus, cut off by Pujols, and safe at the plate is Troy Gloss.
Gloss got a horrible throw by Kobe Rasmus. I thought he should not have even tried to come home, but they are starved for runs. They're trying to get runs, and Kobe came up and threw a worm burner. Watch this throw. It's in front of second base. And then the throw was poor, but it hits Troy Gloss, and that keeps him the ball from getting by Molina, and further advancement by Cabrera.
So Gloss, who walked, now scores. And here is Nate McLeod. 2 walks by Carpenter. That was his first base hit allowed. 1-0 Atlanta. Cardinals had to play catch up in the ball game last night. Here's a ground ball to Albert Pujols. Underhands to Carpenter, and they get McLeod by a step. Cabrera advances to third. And it's up to Derek Lowe, looking for his first hit on the year.
For 6 on the young season with 3 strikeouts. Never really hit much throughout his career. If you're a betting man, you bet on Carpenter in this one-on-one battle.
Line drive, base hit into left.
Carpenter has to be kicking himself, doesn't he?
So Lowe makes it 2-0. Southwest Airlines Fox Tracks. Let's take a look at where the pitch is located.
This fastball right in the middle of the plate, and you have to have respect for every hitter, but you just have to think that the caliber of pitcher that Cosmer is, he can retire any pitcher, especially one batting 140.
1 ball, 1 strike on Yunel Escobar. Martin Prado is on deck.
And it's a 140 for his career.
So 2 walks in the game, 2 base hits allowed by Carpenter. Lowe is the runner at first. That breaking ball in there for a strike. 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Escobar, in his brief career, is a .280 hitter against the Cardinals. It's right-handed pitching this year. He's hitting well below 200. 2-2. Back to Carpenter, and he has it. It'll be Holiday, Rasmus Molina coming up. 2-0. The Atlanta Braves midway through 2.
Welcome back to St. Louis. We're just getting started here. Bottom of the second inning. Matt Holliday, Kobe Rasmus, and Yadier Molina will be the first 3 to face. Derek Lowe had a 1-2-3 first inning. Now, always got to be careful when you see a sinker baller and he goes out there and throws 3 straight ground ball outs in the first. How about Mark McGwire trying to say the hitters try to get the ball up a little bit, hit that sinker, but also if you do commit to swinging, swing as hard as you can and try to power it through the infield. And coaches get way too much credit when a team wins, and they get a lot of blame when, way too much blame when things are not going right. Sure, if we showed on Fox tracks right there that we're swinging a pitch out of the strike zone, and that's the one thing that McGwire preaches is, you know, swing at your zone. Holiday, who's done most of his damage on the road. He's hitting .297, but he's been a .350 plus hitter on the road. Falling behind the count, 2-1. It's amazing how we think we got problems with our offense, and we're 5 games over 500 on the young year.
And that's something. The Cardinals already with 12 wins, and that's well ahead of the pace of most teams in either league. The Cardinals 12-7. That's the most wins in the National League. As Holiday hits a ground ball to third, Chipper Jones with it and makes the play. Tampa Bay 14-5 in the American League East, and they lead by a game and a half over New York. And I guess maybe the surprise there would be Boston at 2 games below 500. Minnesota, great start for them, 13-6, and then Oakland out west, 12-8. A lot of people looked at Minnesota, Al, and we talked about it when we were there, that would be a situation where it might be an adjustment period with that ballpark. You know, the old ballpark, the Metrodome, was a great advantage to the Minnesota Twins, but now, you know, talking with some scouts and whatnot, they said, well, that might even the playing field.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword, because the Dome was horrible for visiting teams. They didn't like the lighting.
Colby cranks one to the opposite way. This is well hit. It's at the wall and caught by Melky Cabrera.
Didn't like the lighting there. It took him 3 or 4 days to adjust to, you know, the background. And I think on the positive side for, you know, the Twins players is they're playing outside and they're loving it.
Absolutely.
I mean, they just sit there. They're amazed. Ron Gardenhire told me, he said it was like going to work at the Metrodome. It was a struggle every single day. But, you know, they look at the outside now, the sunshine. Sure, they have to play with the elements, but, you know, they're having a ball there and they're having success.
You would have to figure that if you're the Twins, you would be starting on the road every year, which could be a disadvantage to have a long road trip, or at least a number of games in the first month and a half of the season away from home. But well, that's the way it is.
You know, they requested that because, you know, anytime you open up a new ballpark, they usually, you know, first week or at least 10 days you're away just to try and get all the little problems fixed. And we had the 2-game series there, and, you know, it gives you kind of an audition. You kind of see what works and what doesn't work, and then you got time to kind of repair, or just in case you're behind your schedule.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. 3-1.
Eric Lowe has had his problems this year with throwing strikes. He has 15 strikeouts and 14 walks.
Now that makes it full. The scoreboard was wrong here at Busch Stadium. Now it's 3-2. 2-0 Atlanta here in the bottom of the second with 2 outs and nobody on. Molina, line drive and caught by the shortstop, Yanel Escobar. What a play that was. Takes the base hit away from Yadier Molina, hit it right on the button. Escobar diving to his left.
You got a high tree.
Let's take a look at our AT&T trivia question tonight. How many no-hitters have been tossed on this date in Major League Baseball history? We talked about Derek Lowe in our open. 6, including Lowe's at Fenway Park in 2002. It's a restaurant there that if you have the ticket to the green seat, that's the place to be when it starts to rain. Ray Place, right behind home plate. Brendan Ryan with it, one away. And look who it is. Jim Hayes is with us. There's that restaurant with the green seat that you get to have a buffet dinner and all the drinks. And
that's a high-class joint.
Food is included there. Yes, it is. Martin Prado retired. Jim is fresh off his pregame cat fight.
Trivia contest.
You talked about the cat fight last night.
We had a winner. John Mabry was the celebrity spokesmodel, and no one got hurt, so I consider that a win.
Now, how does that work? How do you do this with John Mabry and fans?
Well, people that are walking by the set in the stadium, we have one of our producers or segment people find some people who are interested in participating and winning some nice prizes. Then we bring them on.
What's a nice prize?
The Helitech set.
On the Helitech set,
yeah,
that's
now
correct.
Tell everybody where the Helitech set is.
Just past the Champions Club in the outfield.
It's down the left field line.
Is that a good location?
Well, it's a good location. You could have described it a little better.
And they won some barbecuing gear. There it is. And autographed baseball, some FSN gear.
This is slowly hit. And it's a foul ball.
And this is going to happen every Tuesday?
Or so. Maybe on a Wednesday. I think mostly on a Tuesday.
Tony La Russa out to visit with our home plate umpire. I believe Molina was pointing at the dirt is to show the umpire where it hit. But the umpire did call it right away. Home plate umpire is Mark Wegner. Here's a 3-2 to Chipper. Fly ball lifted to left. Holiday under it. Makes the catch. For every Cardinals win during this homestand against the Braves and Reds, you can take $5 off Loge box seats for the Nationals and Marlins series May 17th through the 20th. And this could lead to a discount as high as $35, meaning free tickets. So stay tuned and save.
Knocked off $5 last night.
On Friday night, it's half price night here at the ballpark. Albert Pujols MVP weekend. Brendan Ryan up with it, over to Albert. And David Freese leads it off when we come back. The first inning. Let's check out the crowd through the first inning fan cam and see who's enjoying the game. Budweiser, it's what we do. At Anheuser-Busch, Budweiser first inning as we roll on here at Busch Stadium. David Freese, Chris Carpenter, and Brendan Ryan. Al, I would have lost that bet if I was a betting man that Derek Lowe was going to get that hit.
Well, obviously I did too.
We would have been broke. As he picked up the base hit to make it 2-0. And here's David Freese.
Cardinals battled back from a 3-0 deficit last night. They're going to have to do the same here. Boy, it sure is easy a lot easier when you get out on head. Cardinals are 7-1 when they score first.
Had to play catch up last night. We'll have to do so this evening. 1 ball, 1 strike. I don't know about you, but it felt like the first 5 or 6 innings, Atlanta should have been up 10-0 last night. Yes. And the Cardinals come back and win the game.
Extremely one-sided, and then Hudson just kind of faltered, wore out after 6 innings, and allowed Tony's offense to peck away, and eventually they overcame that three-run deficit.
I know you guys were talking about Kyle Loesch. I spoke to him before the game, and I said, the last couple innings you pitched where you went through the order real quick and limited a number of pitches. I said, is that good as you felt all year? And he said, really? No. He said, I've been feeling okay. He did talk about his delivery a little bit, but in terms of his health, he says he feels fine, and there's been times where he felt in command and balls are just dropping.
Well, or he feels good, but not getting the results as the ball was up in the zone or over the middle of the plate rather than on the corners.
Here's Freese, and he'll ground out to short. Yanel Escobar, low throw to Troy Gloss, and that's out number 1. Well, Mr. Analyst, Mr. Raboski, here we go again with the pitcher batting 8th for Tony La Russa's club.
I'll remind you when you were in San Francisco and I was on a mission for the Hungarian Navy, I texted you and said, when is Tony going to start batting the pitcher 8th? He does that when he's looking for offense. I think he needs to look for offense. And we showed a graphic before the game of the Cardinals' 7 and 8 hitters hitting a combined 174. It was only a matter of time for Tony to go back to this method that he uses when he thinks his team is offensively challenged.
He said it will also hopefully help jumpstart Brendan Ryan. When you're hitting in front of the pitcher, it's a lot different than when you're hitting in front of the number 1 batter, and he thinks that change of approach just might create a spark for Brendan.
Yeah, he needs something. Brendan is trying desperately, to get something going. If anything, maybe trying too hard.
And Tony was almost apologetic before the game, saying, look, we have a good offense. We're winning. I know all this, but I'd like to see a little more. And there are some guys, specifically Brendan, who could use some sort of little jump start, and he's hoping this is it.
The offense, though, going into the season was supposed to be a major strength of this club.
Exactly, and that's why he started out with the pitcher batting 9th, the traditional fashion. But as we've seen, team heavily dependent on home run ball and really not generating a lot of offense. So he goes back to his theory that you put a position player in the 9th spot, that'll create one more, a higher on-base percentage player, to when you roll over the top of the order.
Situation here where you get off to the slow start like Brendan Ryan currently is in, this little funk. He's hitting 158 to start the year, and then it just starts to become a mental thing too.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest problem.
Going to roll foul, 1 and 2 with 2 outs and nobody on.
Brendan hit 292 last season, and we played that Gold Glove defense, but really at this time of the year he wasn't playing. Khalil Green was playing, so it's one of the things he's got to concentrate on is like, hey, at least I'm in the lineup every day. I've got a chance to help my team defensively, and the offense will come.
He told me he's real confused about this. Works and works, and then there are times he says, well, maybe I just need to get away from it. Maybe I'm overdoing, I'm overthinking. He's tried a lot of things, Dan.
2-2. And he strikes out at a pitch that was way in.
Yeah, he can't swing at that pitch.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Lowe. In 2 runs as we move to the 4th here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Troy Glaus, the eventful turn around the bases as nearly thrown out. We thought he was out at second, and then a play at the plate that got him pretty good.
Well, he might have got tagged in the face by Schumacher, and then he got drilled by the relay throw coming in around the thigh.
Welcome back to St. Louis.
He only played 14 games last year after coming off the late January shoulder surgery. Signed by the Braves a 1-year contract, and right now changing positions, playing first base, but you'd have to say a disappointing start for Troy Glaus.
When he's healthy, he hits, and he impressed me defensively as a third baseman when he was healthy here.
Well, we were expecting, I think at the time, such a decline in defense going from a guy like Rolen, and then you're not sure what you're going to get in Glaus, and Glaus is more than serviceable over at third base.
Well, remember the first year, too, with a guy that has a history of injuries. He played a full season, and then last year, anything but. But he can provide some power. You know, he'll produce RBIs. And, you know, defensively, he really didn't hurt the club. He obviously has no range compared to Rolen, but he made the plays he was expected to make.
2-2 pitch to Troy Glaus. And it looked like he was a little bit fooled and late on that swing, so strikeout for Carpenter in his second tonight. Traveling this season, take the Cardinals with you. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Cardinals game live or on demand on your computer. Visit Cardinals.com for details. Local in-market blackouts will apply. MLB.tv. Baseball everywhere. Eventful, Jim, for John Jay to get here to the big leagues. And, of course, we knew that Jason LaRue was going to be activated after Brian Anderson's base hit last night, which was a big hit. But John Jay winds up in the big leagues.
John Jay, Tyler Green recalled from Memphis. They found out 1 o'clock yesterday. They were in Oklahoma City with the Memphis club on the road. They took a flight. They got here in the 4th inning. Jay barely had time to put on a uniform before he was called into pinch hitting duty in the 6th. But he said he wasn't overwhelmed by the moment, and he understands it's the big leagues, so he jumped right into it. And he said he expected to be nervous, but he wasn't that nervous after all.
He was a second-round draft pick out of Miami.
Correct. Great program there, obviously.
You know, in spring training, I know because of lack of having a left-hand hitting outfielder, he got a lot of emphasis, and Tony at that time thought that he wasn't quite ready. But he started out Memphis with a 16-game hitting streak. He also was like 7 for 7 in steals.
It's the 3rd walk allowed by Carpenter, which is Carp's best pitch tonight. Fastball, cutter, curveball, text. Best A, B, or C to 4-3-2, 4-3-2.
And the fact that Tyler Green's here because Felipe Lopez is hurt. John Mozeliak said that's one of the reasons why they signed Aaron Miles to a minor league contract, because there's another need for an infielder in the organization. There's a trickle-down effect.
Runner goes and mishandled by Schumacher. Hayward winds up at third base. Nobody at second. Finally, Carpenter will go cover the bag. So an error on Schumacher, and it's runners at first and third.
Just like Friday night in San Francisco, he really tried to make the turn before he caught the ball. And let's see where the pitch was. Set up away. It's just down and away, just a little chopper down. As McLeod has that good speed, they're trying to generate something. They know a lot of ground balls from Carpenter, but they're trying to do a little bit too much and didn't look into the glove.
Cardinals have been able to get a lot of ground balls and a lot of double plays this season. Many started by David Freese, who is even with the bag at third. Infield is in a few steps up the middle, and Pujols holding at first. Now, Nate McLeod is hitting 156. It's a guy that you can strike out, and then you've got the pitcher on deck and Derek Lowe.
So, all-star a couple years ago for the Pirates.
And with McCutchen coming up, they felt that they could get rid of McLeod and try to, again, get more prospects and reload with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we got 3 prospects for him, but there's another young player that has been disappointing. for the Atlanta Braves. Not to say he can't regain his all-star form.
Grounded out to Pujols, first time up. Carpenter covering the bag over at first. Runners in scoring position this year. He's got 5 walks, but 0 for 8. Hayward, the runner at third. It's already 2-0.
Just doesn't have that same killer instinct on the mound.
At 60 pitches even, with 1 out here in the 4th. 2-2.
Was fired up in his last start after he got plunked.
Normally the control from Carpenter is very good, and we have not seen that this evening, but that could change. Got him on the outside corner. Boy, he needed that.
And it's a backdoor breaking ball, and I think he catches a break right here as that ball's outside. His 3rd strikeout of the night, and now he's got Derek Lowe, who really hurt him, stung him the first time up with an RBI single, his first RBI of the year. Swinging the first pitch fastball.
And that's strike 1. Cardinals will have the top of the lineup coming up in their half of the 4th. Braves got 2 runs in the 2nd. Popped up on the infield, and Carpenter will get out of this jam. Schumacher puts it away following his error, and he'll lead it off when we come back. It's 2-0 Braves. On Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. And right now, Jack in the Box is offering a variety of menu items and letting people choose any 3 for only $3 plus tax. Nice night here in St. Louis and Busch Stadium. Let's hope his dad is holding that bottle. Here's Skip Schumacher. It'll be Schumacher, Ludwig, and Pujols. You always wonder if a guy is pressing a little bit, not just offensively, but if that pressing goes out into the field. And Skip right now is hitting .211. He's made a couple of errors this last week, and he was so good defensively a season ago. You know, when you think about any ball that he could get to, for the most part, he made the play.
That's one of the things Mark McGuire volunteered about Brendan Ryan. As he said, yeah, he's struggling at the plate right now, but he's not carrying it out to the field. He's made a couple errors, talking about Brendan Ryan, but, you know, there have been errors of being aggressive where, you know, Skip he's trying, and his is just a little bit of lack of concentration. That's where you kind of, hopefully it's not, you know, a condition of not hitting.
1-2 pitch. Gets it the other way. Melky Cabrera over to get it for the first out. Sunday, May 2nd, the Cardinals take on the Reds this weekend. We congratulate Albert Pujols on his MVP. All fans ages 15 and under receive a Rawlings baseball bat designed to look just like his. Get your tickets at Cardinals.com. Good seats still available.
Dan, you mentioned something. You said it's Pujols weekend.
They've got a photo.
The canvas photo, right?
Yeah, the canvas print. That'll be on Saturday. Half price night on Friday. And the bat, as we just mentioned, on Sunday. So good seats available for all 3 nights.
It's against Cincinnati.
That's right. First look at the Reds here in St. Louis. Look at this one. Down the left field line, and that ball is gone. Just to the left of Big Mac Lamb. And a long home run for Ryan Ludwig, his 4th of the year.
It's good to see Ryan hit a home run at home. 18 of his 21 home runs last year were on the road. And this year, he's been hitting much better here at home. And boy, he crushed this. That's that ball down and in. You know, they talk about drop the bat head. And it's the shortest stroke, the shortest part of the field. You make a mistake on the inner part of the plate, and it doesn't take much to hit it out of the ballpark. But that was up to the 3rd deck.
Look at that rocket from Albert Pujols. Right back and low.
Well, you know, also we showed that graphic earlier that Ludwig, Pujols, and Holiday have just destroyed Derek Lowe. So home run, now rocket right back up the middle, and here comes Mr. Holiday.
We'd like to see Holiday get things going here at home. Didn't have any hits in the first homestand until that Sunday night game against the Mets.
He's just been a terrific hitter. You know, even when he was with the Rockies, he owned Cardinal pitching, and he was nearly a .500 hitter as a Rocky playing in St. Louis. So it's a matter of time.
First career home run against the Braves. Now homered against every National League team is Ryan Ludwig. Check on Pujols, who's back in safely.
One of those little oddities that, you know, get the monkey off your back and you go on a hitting tear.
Holiday is hitting .293, 4 homers. He's driven in 8.
He's hitting .353, all 4 of his home runs on the road.
Jim mentioned how the Cardinals have signed Aaron Miles, and he'll get a chance to play down in the minor leagues, and you never know, might get a chance to come back up here in the major leagues and be a veteran that the Cardinals are very familiar with.
Well, he had some great years with the Cardinals coming off the bench. He was an integral part. Look at that steal.
Pujols is steal at second base. Standing up. Great jump against Lowe.
Well, that's it. Derek Lowe forgot about him. And Albert really is a steal threat. You know, I mean, led the team last year in stolen bases. And, you know, Brian McCann has no chance. But you're going to try and steal off the Atlanta Braves in general. But it's usually because their pitchers are so poor of keeping that runner in check.
Here's a 2-1 pitch to Holiday. And Lowe now is a little bit unnerved after that long home run by Ludwig.
It's only 1 run. Doesn't matter if it goes, you know, hits the nail on the back of the fence, or if it goes, you know, out of the stadium. It's just a run.
Foul ball.
And some good pitches in on the hands of some of the right-handed hitters, and then they play defensively. They played him to hit to the opposite field. Holiday has that power to spread to all fields.
Derek Lloyd, year 2 of a 4-year contract. He signed with the Atlanta Braves following 4 years in Los Angeles and a number of seasons with Boston.
And I had, part of that conversation with Mark McGuire, we were talking about today's hitters. And just in the time that he's been retired, he's saying that they really have changed a lot. One of the things he says is, they're really much more guess hitters today, and that they don't trust their eyes. And I think it's a byproduct. They're so dependent on the video that, they see tendencies or they look for tendencies. They go up there guessing an awful lot. Where in Mark's day,
Holiday hits it to third. Jones will look back. Pujols, he's on his way to third, and he'll be out. No, he's safe. Pujols is safe at third.
He sure looked out, didn't he? And Bobby Cox he may get another one for the record books, as he's been ejected more times than any manager in Major League history. And he can't believe it. Joey Klaus, remember, he's the third baseman, so he challenges right there. Throw beats him. He said he missed the tag. Yep, missed the tag, but how many times have we seen the ball beat you there? You put that down. They don't expect that middle infielder or that infielder to leave the tag there where he gets spiked. But, he got the play right. It's just rarely called that way.
Exmo Cam brought to you by Plaza Tire Service. Pujols takes a chance. He winds up at third. Now there's 2 outs.
I love Bobby.
Players love playing for him, too.
He got out there pretty quick for all the physical problems that he has.
I was talking with John Smoltz, as I mentioned before the game. He said he didn't meet a guy that did not like playing for Bobby Cox in all his years in Atlanta. He said guys just loved him. Chance here for Colby, who hit one to deep left field. First time up near the wall, and it was taken in by Melky Cabrera. First pitch, a ball.
Very simple rules. Don't embarrass the organization or Bobby, and just come out and play hard. And he leaves you alone. Let you play.
2-0. Big gap in right center for Rasmus. He homered here last night down the right field line. 2-1.
One thing about Kobe, you kind of sneaking up on you, is his home run last night, 6, ranked second in the National League. His slugging percentage is second.
It does surprise you a little bit.
I know his slugging percentage, maybe 6 home runs. It's got to be close, because that was what? He's got 7 and leading the league. So they must be tied for that.
Look at his ranks this season in the National League in home runs, on base percentage, slugging percentage, and extra base hits with 11. And that's a called third strike on Rasmus. 2-1 after 4. Use a phone camera or a fancy one. Doesn't matter. Enter now at foxsportsmidwest.com for our Fan of the Game photo contest. Scott Wood, kind enough to join us up here in the booth. He's part of Tony's troops today. There's a fly ball out to right, backing up Ludwig to make the catch. So we're underway here in the 5th inning. 2-1 Atlanta. Martin Prado is 0 for 2. Scott is from O'Fallon and part of a group here with Tony's troops, Tony La Russa. Prado has fly to center and also grounded out to short. And looks at a ball upstairs.
Just looking with Rasmus, you know, there's 6 home runs because there are 4 players with 7 home runs. That's why he's not second in home runs. Reynolds has 7, Kemp has 7, Johnson and Pujols. How about Kelly Johnson? 7 home runs for Arizona.
He's off to a great start. Remember that game he had against the Cardinals? He had 3 doubles one night. Foul tip held on to by Molina. Cardinals had interest in Kelly Johnson. We were talking to John Mozeliak about that last week.
It was a couple years ago before they kind of settled in on Schumacher.
Over near the line, Ludwig, be careful, and it's out of play. You go down the right field line where Ludwig is at. I'm sure our great crew will show you that, but there is about 2 steps, if that. And then you've got that side wall.
It's padded, but good luck.
Yeah. 2-2, a breaking ball hit to third. Freeze up with it over to Albert. 2 outs.
And I told you about, should read this promo first.
Major League Baseball, People Magazine, teaming up to find All-Stars among us. Winner will take part in the All-Star Game festivities in L.A.
When I first joined the Atlanta Braves back in 1980, we had a teammate named Brian Asselstein. And Brian was a very good outfielder. And they had a chain link fence, I guess it was in '79. And Brian went back on a fly ball, tried to save it from a home run, got tangled up in the chain link fence, and severely broke his leg and ankle, kind of like a Bobby Valentine out in the Angels. So the next day they rectified that. They put a plate of plexiglass over that one spot.
And that helped the entire fence.
Yeah.
Pujols puts it away. It's 2-1 midway through 5. Hilton St. Louis at the ballpark is the only hotel that gives you home field advantage and an extraordinary Cardinals baseball experience. For reservations and information, number to call is 421-1776 or visit HiltonSt.Louis.com. Look at the starters comparison tonight. Carpenter at 72 pitches, and this will be number 60 for Lowe. And it's a strike at the knees to Yadier Molina.
It'll be close, but I'll bet that Lowe ends up with more pitches after this half inning, and Carpenter's at 72.
1 ball, 1 strike. Molina lined out short. Very fine play from their shortstop to his left, Escobar, to take the hit away.
Escobar very good defensively.
Now they rave about his physical talents and just a guy with a great arm, very good range, the shortstop of the Braves. But you always talk about this teaching the game at this level. And they feel that they've got to do a lot of that with him.
Yeah, you better go to war today with a good teaching staff. So much more instruction at the major level than ever before.
1-2 pitch. Here's a ground ball. Escobar up with it. And a strike over to Gloss at first, 1 away. One out in the 2-1 game. Remind you that we've got baseball tomorrow night. Braves and Cardinals in Game 3 of this 4-game series presented by Budweiser, the Great American Lager. It's our What's on Tap, Game 3 tomorrow night. We'll have afternoon baseball for you on Thursday.
And the Reds come in town.
The Jaime Garcia tomorrow night. I mentioned how Loesch got it his way through his start last night. Really, Jaime did the same thing in his start in San Francisco.
I thought once again he really showed you a lot of composure as he had several plays not made behind him.
A real hostile environment.
Sure. You know, you're facing Lincecum, the last 2-time Cy Young Award winner, the reigning Cy Young Award winner.
2-0 pitch, tapped foul by Freeze.
I mean, he goes about his business the right way. And that's why it was important to me to get Kyle Loesch going. You know, you get all 5 starters pitching effectively and well. Cardinals are second to the Giants in ERA, both in starting rotation and overall team ERA. And every night, you know, you come to the plate or come to the ballpark expecting one of these starters to pitch you well enough to where you win. It's not going to happen every night, but you know you have a chance. And we've been around the ball club where you know, okay, this guy's pitching, you don't have no chance.
3-1 into right. Hayward there to make the catch. You certainly don't feel that way with Garcia. He's got good stuff, Al. I mean, I didn't realize his stuff was that good.
You know what? In many ways, I think we still haven't seen all of his pitches in one night. You know, I think he's, you know, we haven't seen the curveball as consistent as it's ranked as the best curveball in the Cardinal minor league system. But, you know, the days he doesn't have the curveball, he's got a very effective slider. You know, the more he pitches up here, the more he'll utilize that changeup, and he spots his fastball well enough.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Carpenter. Enjoying the game tonight, Frankie, Graham, and Joe Vasily. Watching the ball game on Fox Sports Midwest. 2-0 the count on Carpenter.
Getting out there after he falls behind 2-0, and I think it was Derek Lowe, the pitcher, who called out the catcher. Maybe saying, hey, we're trying to be too fine.
And that's what you get for that. Foul tip.
Yeah,
ouch.
Don't mess with me. Put down the right fingers. I'll throw the pitch where that batter will foul it off, and it's going to hurt you. That's pretty good control.
It is amazing how these catchers.
Back to back. I told you he could do it.
I was about to say it's amazing that these guys can catch 140 games a year. and yet they are able to do it.
Well, I'll tell you what Daryl Porter. I'll tell you that later what Daryl Porter said.
Strikeout of Carpenter, and 4 tonight for Derek Lowe. Outdoor equipment, powerful, lightweight, dependable, versatile yard care solutions. Start at SteelDealers.com. By Lumiere Casino, if the Cardinals win, Lumiere Place is giving away $10 in free play. Register at My Choice Center the next day. And by AT&T, find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible.
Daryl Porter, when had a substance abuse problem, and after he got straightened out, he told everyone, he said, I never realized those foul balls hurt so bad.
Oh. They do hurt.
They do, but he didn't feel it.
Deep in the hole, a backhanded play by Brendan Ryan, but no throw, and McCann has a base hit. So that's how we'll start the 6th inning. Base hit for Brian McCann. That brings in Troy Gloss.
Played up the middle, and so a real nice effort going out on the outfield grass by Brendan Ryan.
Plaza Tire Service and the Exmo Cam. We'll extend a get well wish to a Cardinals fan, Stan Garner from Greenwood, Arkansas. Wishing you a speedy recovery as you watch tonight. Carpenter would love a double play here. It's 2-1 Atlanta here in the 6th. Seeing the Cardinals trying to bust Gloss in last night and again tonight.
A lot of pitchers today don't exploit the weaknesses of hitters. And you got a guy like Troy Gloss, likes to get his arms extended. So, you pound him in, get him conscious of the inside part of the plate, and then you can get him out of the way. That plate is 17 inches, and a hitter can't cover both sides of the plate efficiently. So, hitter picks one side to be dominant, and you as a pitcher figure out the other side, and you own that part.
And a 1-1 pitch. Ludwig will give it a look, and it's in the seats out of play. Gloss struck out swinging back in the 4th. He's also walked and scored.
Throw enough pitches inside to where you want to throw that cutter away. Get him reaching for it. Call for the curveball. Oh. Didn't want, he wanted the location further out, but I mean, that froze Gloss and awfully tempting to take. Come back with the same pitch.
2-2. Struck him out. Another very sharp breaking ball from Carpenter, and his 4th strikeout tonight. Let's go back to the Plaza Tire Service. Exmo Cam.
There's the curve ball as he pulls it down like you're pulling down on a lampshade. And just the swing and miss as he swings over the top.
Here's Hayward. Grounded out to short and also walked. A swing and a miss. You would think with as big as he is, he's 6'5", he'd have a lot of holes in that swing, but Braves folks will tell you it's very short, very compact. Whether he is 6'5" or 5'10", they say that swing is outstanding. Very short, very compact to the ball.
And he's 20 years of age and learning here at this level.
Tough.
He's very tough. And then because of lack of offensive support around him, you put him into a really, vital spot in the order where he has to drive in runs.
Even Bobby Cox said ideally, if you felt that you could drop him down in the lineup, you would. But with the way things are, in this lineup, he's batting 6th.
Yeah, you probably put him 7th or 8th, or even maybe in a 2-hole. He's kind of a perfect guy like Tony likes to put a little thumper, a little danger in that 2-hole, but take a little pressure off him.
0-2 pitch. Let's see if Carpenter can't get a double play here. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out, and a runner at first. Hayward, though, runs very well.
Good ball.
Doesn't get that call again. Second time he's seen that in the 6th inning here.
We've seen a few times where that backdoor breaking ball is called with a left-handed hitter. That one may have stayed up a little bit. Didn't want the cutter, back to the curveball.
2-2. Hayward hits it down the right field line. It's hooking, and that ball is foul. Certainly home run distance.
They'll give you an idea of that short, compact swing and how the ball jumps off his bat. But Carpenter will foul that, and now he'll gets the curveball, but a little bit more inside than he probably wanted. But it's allowed out. Didn't want the back. Carpenter really wants that curveball, and he's going to get this one down.
3-2. It's been curveball after curveball.
Yeah, I mean he's got. He's shaken off Molina 3 different times to go back to that curveball and see if he does it again. Molina wants the cutter, and so it's going to run in on it. Cutter, an old-fashioned slider that just breaks an inch or 2. That's all it has to do. You're trying to hit it with a round bat.
A lot of it has to do with the course your grip, Al, and maybe we can talk about that after this pitch.
And not the cutter, fastball away.
Slowly hit. Freeze has the bare hand, throws to first. Got him. Good play by David Freeze. Well, he's played some defense.
Do or die play, and he comes in. And also that aspect about Hayward is he can run for a big man. So you come in, you barehanded, you got to throw, make an exchange, and just nips him at first base.
Plaza Tire Service, Exmo Cam. Do or dive.
You catch it in the palm of your hand, and then as you trying to regain your footing, get something on the throw, you let it roll down to your fingertips.
Now go back to the cutter and how a pitcher wants to throw it.
Well, you're going to hold it off center. You probably catch your middle finger on a seam. You can adjust how you want your thumb underneath the ball, and you throw it like your fastball, but it's because it's a little off center, it just cuts ever so slightly. Where a lot of the true sliders today are really more slurs. You get underneath it, and it's a much bigger break.
Runner at second, 2-1 Braves here in the 6th, and an 0-1 pitch to Cabrera. Carpenter will step and throw, and McCann is left stranded. The Braves have stranded 5. It'll be Brendan Ryan, Schumacher, Ludwig. If anybody can reach, then Pujols. 2-1 Braves. pulls in. The Home Depot doing more on defense, and a fine play here from David Freese in the bare hand.
That's a do-or-die play. You just come in, you try to be aggressive, catch it in the palm of your hand, and let it slip down to your fingertips. You automatically roll into that four-seam, throwing position where the ball doesn't sail for you, and you just hope you can execute it, and he did.
And here's Brendan Ryan. Brendan struck out swinging back in the third. Lowe has struck out 4 on the night. 2 of those have been Chris Carpenter, who's in the 8th spot in this lineup. So Tony La Russa going back to the 8th spot with the pitcher. And Al, you may want to refresh our viewers' memories as to why Tony La Russa wants to do this.
Well, very simple.
Up the middle, base hit. Boy, he needed that.
Sure did. And, sometimes when you struggle like he is, you have bad luck. Every time you hit a ball, it's right at somebody, but here it bounces through.
Tomorrow on Toyota Cardinals Live, it's more of Brendan Ryan's home movies. And he'll give you some of his video work before tomorrow night's game. That's Toyota Cardinals Live at 6:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. Gave him a flip cam, and he had some fun with it.
Tony, bats the pitcher 8 when he thinks his team is offensively challenged, when they struggle to score runs. So his thinking is, if I put a position player in the 9th spot, then I have like a double leadoff, and I should, being a position player, have a more of an opportunity to have more men on base when I get to my heart of my order. And it still allows you to have Albert Pujols, your 3-hitter, bat in the first inning, but then be almost legitimately a cleanup hitter after that.
So leadoff hit for Ryan, and now top of the lineup and Skip Schumacher, who's 0 for 2. Grounded back to Lowe, off his glove, 1-6-3 and went, and then also flied out to left.
And we mentioned now, we saw Pujols steal off of Derek Lowe. Now he's paying a little more attention with the speed of Ryan over there. But he still can steal. He didn't pay any attention to Albert, and then the Cardinals really reliant on pitchers' release times. Guy has really quick move to the plate. They rarely run, but if someone is, 1-3 to 1-5. The likelihood, the higher you are, the more they're going to run against you.
Dave McKay carries that stopwatch over at first base. First base coach keeps notes on every pitcher and also his guys. He'll keep a stopwatch on his players out of the box. Ryan is running, and the pitch is hit out of play. Dave is wearing a very familiar number.
It's an outstanding number.
Number 39.
Yeah, it's been retired as a charter member of the Hall of Shame.
Now Rabosky's former number 39.
It's been worn out since my day.
Well, you're the guy sitting here, so it's your former number, Al.
Yeah, it got to the Hall of Shame because of me.
3-2. Let's see if they start Brendan Ryan.
Skip was hitting 300 like he's done the last 3 years. He might be more inclined.
There he goes, and the pitch is hit to first, and lost a step on the bag, and Ryan is at second base. Let's go pitch by pitch of the at-bat, which is presented by Chevrolet.
Just throwing the fastball out there. Remember, he's got a tremendous sinker, so he's just trying to get the ball down, and hopefully you get a ground ball. It's just really nothing fancy there. He's not his first off-speed pitch, and then now he gets the sinker, got the ground ball, didn't turn 2, and by the Cardinals starting the runner, they have potential tying run out in scoring position for the home run hitter tonight.
Ludwig put one into the third deck here at Busch Stadium. just to the left of Big Mac Land. And his first ever home run against the Atlanta Braves. And now he has homered against every team in the National League, and that home run measured at 396 feet. Ludwig 1 for 2 on the night. One out and a runner at second base. And let's take you back to the home run. This is in the fourth, and our prime cut of the game presented by Hardee's.
See, that pitch was down and in, and he really used his hands to get to that ball. Just drop the bat head, and the ball would jump.
1-1 pitch. 2-1. Get the feeling this could be a big pitch right here with Pujols on deck. You don't want to go to 3-1. You know you're forced to throw a strike. You get something very good to hit right here.
And you don't have to swing at just any pitch. This is where you look for a zone. Become a zone hitter. Look for a pitch where you want it, where you like it. If it's not there, don't swing at it.
Same could be said right here.
Right. Even more so now at 3-1. McGuire and I were talking about, years past, you used to go up there and look for a zone. Didn't matter what pitch it was, but it was in that area that you're looking for. You really pulled the trigger.
3-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss by Ludwig.
But see, there's what he's talking about. Today's hitters are more guess hitters. They're thinking like, instead of looking for a ball out over the plate where McCann's set up, that ball's way inside, and he's swinging at it because he's thinking he's going to get a pitch out over the plate.
(3-2) drilled out to left center. This game is tied. Ludwig with 2 RBIs tonight. He'll change spots with Brendan Ryan, and it's 2-2. Well, that's another hard hit ball off his bat. Ball was smoked.
Now he got the pitch he was looking for, the pitch out away from him, and he does some damage with it. That's also his 100th career double. Set up away, the ball's out there, and it's hit hard. Go up there with an idea. Don't guess. Stay with your game plan all the way through the at-bat. But I think it's a byproduct, like I say, of all the video today. And Mark was also talking as they're going to intentionally walk Albert to the disdain of the fans, but all Braves fans understand the logic. And Joe Torre didn't, but he told me he wanted to walk Pujols with nobody on. That's how much respect he had for him.
How about Bobby Cox? He was asked about the contract that Ryan Howard just got, and he had a comment about it, and then he said, "What's that mean for Pujols?"
Well, I mean, you look at it one way and you say, Ryan Howard is an outstanding player, but he's not the best player. That's Albert Pujols.
Runners at first and second for Holiday. Twice he is grounded out to third. We're in the sixth. Tie game 2-2. We would have seen this a ton the second half of last year, if not for Holiday, where they would walk Albert Pujols to get to somebody behind him, and then Holiday went on a tear, and you see he's hitting .529 against Derek Lowe in his career. So an interesting move.
Now the percentage is you're looking for the ground ball double play.
Out there and safe at first. Hustle by Matt Holliday extends the inning. Runners at first and second with 2 outs.
Got the ball down. He got the ground ball. Look at Holiday. He knows that, he has to run hard to stay out of the double play, and he does so.
And here is Colby Rasmus. Colby is 0 for 2. He is struck out. He also flied out to deep left first time up. Ball scoots away. Pujols trying to advance to third, and he will. Runners at second and third. Base hit could make it 4-2. Wild pitch charged to Lowe. Lowe at 94 pitches. He is due up second for the Braves coming up in the seventh. They've got activity in their bullpen.
Roger McDowell will come out and talk to Derek Lowe, but one more aspect that you admire, the blocking ability of Molina. Especially when you got guys on base here in a tie game. Now a hit produces 2 runs.
Pujols just pushes it every time that he can, to the point he makes the defense make the play. And even at this level, you don't see that done all the time, as Moylan, the Australian, is getting loose. We saw him last night. But isn't that the truth? I mean, even with, Albert always testing an outfield arm, or even on the infield doing different things, he will test that defense to make the play.
And he'll make some mistakes, being aggressive. But more times than not, he will be safe. Obsessed with scoring. And, if you ask Albert, he says, well, that's what wins games, scoring runs. And he's right.
So a chance here for Rasmus, who homered here last night.
Jose Oquendo is the third base coach, extremely aggressive. Anytime he has an opportunity to send somebody, even, if there's a 50-50 chance, he'll take that chance, and more times than not, he's successful.
1 ball, 1 strike on Colby Rasmus. 2-1 with 2 outs and 2 on. 2-2 game. Good pitch.
Pulled the string there.
Fastball that he swung through earlier was at 88. That pitch at 81. 2-2. Molina is on deck. Remember last time up, Rasmus was called out on strikes on an outside pitch.
Backdoor breaking ball that Martin Wegman is given to the pitcher on left-handed batters for both sides.
Big pitch here on 3-2. Here it comes. And he walks to load the bases.
Good eye after he was called out on a similar pitch last time up.
He's done that this year. He's drawn a bunch of walks. And here's Molina, who had the big hit last night. Remember this gapper into left center, ground rule double. That scored Albert Pujols. Would have scored 2. Braves caught a break as the ball got over the wall. That made it 4-3, and the Cardinals held on.
His first game-winning hit of 2010, but not his last.
So 2 walks in the inning, one of those intentional to Pujols. Walk to Rasmus. Here's Molina. Has 1 grand slam. That was on opening day this year.
Notice they've changed the defensive alignment a little bit. As last night and earlier, Molina, they were playing to hit to right and right center. Now they got the center fielders shading just slightly towards left. Really bunch him in left field as Milky Cabrera, the left fielder, is well off the left field line.
Whoa. Talked last night how clutch Molina has been. 4 times than not will put the ball in play. He may have gotten a break on that last pitch. It was called a ball, and it's 1-1. Looked to be pretty good. Twice he has hit the ball to short. Once was the line out, a fine play by Escobar, and then a ground out. Molina, base hit into center. 1 run is in. Here comes Holiday. throw from center is cut off. Cardinals lead it 4-2. Molina delivers again.
The 13 RBIs now for Yadier. As nothing special, the ball is elevated. Sign maybe he's tiring as that pitch count is at 102. And that ball gets up there, becomes more hittable. Just a nice, sweet stroke. Great timely hitting. Game winner last night, and possibly the game winner here tonight.
So with 2 outs and the bases loaded, Molina delivers. It's 4-2, and they've knocked out low. His first blown save of the season last night after allowing 1 run, an inherited runner to score on a 2-out RBI double by Molina. That was in the 7th of the game last night. And he'll appear for the 10th time this year. What a big hit by Yadier Molina to make it 4-2 Cardinals.
Yadier up to 11 RBIs on the season. Back-to-back nights, he's come up with a big hit, but he'll be the first one to tell you he hopes his teammates add to it.
So runners at first and third. And here is David Freese. Freese is flying to right and grounded out to short. 0 for 2. Five and 2/3 for Derek Lowe. Good speed over there at third base with Colby Rasmus. Molina at first.
Starters got to go deeper into games and spare this bullpen.
First pitch to Freese. Saw last night how Moylan can be very tough on the right-handers as he drops down even below 3/4.
And the first Brave with 2 80 appearance seasons. 80 and 87 last year. So he's well on his way to a third.
87 was the franchise record for the Atlanta Braves.
And then in 2007 he had 80.
1 ball, 1 strike on David Freese. You wonder if you're David Freese, if you're starting to put a little pressure on yourself to hit a home run.
No. You know, it's natural, but you only make a mistake if you do so.
Sure.
Home runs will come when you don't try to hit them.
Lifts it into left center, and this ball will be not caught. Run scores. Molina will stop at third. A diving attempt out there by Cabrera. And it's 5-2 Cardinals. And an RBI for David Freese to drive in Colby Rasmus. 3-run lead for St. Louis. It's a base hit RBI.
Oh, 2 outs. Molina can get a tremendous jump as Cabrera just keeps on coming. I thought he initially had no chance of getting to this ball right off the end of the bat, so that's going to keep it, but he does get to it and actually overran it. Looked like it hit him on the wrist of his glove hand. So he's lucky that he does at least knock it down and keep it in front of him. That ball gets by him. Molina scores easily, and now John Jay will pinch hit for Carpenter.
So 6 innings, 3 hits for Carpenter. It's up to the Cardinals bullpen now. And I ask you, Al, are you a little surprised at this move by Tony La Russa?
I am. You know, Carpenter didn't have his best stuff, but only 89 pitches. I did have back-to-back 10 strikeouts. That gets your pitch count up there a little bit. But Tony, with 2 outs here, is going for the kill. He does have a 3-run lead, and I think you'd be pretty comfortable leaving Carpenter in to hit for himself.
And you get John Jay.
I would have.
So righty getting loose in the Cardinal bullpen. I thought McClellan looked fantastic last night.
He really did. And Hawksworth.
Yeah, we'll see at some point if maybe McClellan goes in the 8th inning, or do you leave Hawksworth for 2 innings, depending on how he looks. Jay to third. Chipper Jones with it, across the diamond. Cardinals are strand 2, but they pick up 4, and they pick up a lead. 5-2 after 6. Hawksworth coming in. Which was Carp's best pitch tonight, and the viewers say his curveball. I think we would agree with that assessment. Why not?
Why not?
51% with the curveball. So it's our Chevy call to the bullpen, and the 7th inning rolls in. Here's Blake Hawksworth for the Cardinals.
Blake's done a nice job. He picked up where he left off late last season, because he's not allowed to run his last 16 appearances dating back to last season. So his 6th appearance this year. You see there's 7 strikeouts already. And you touched on it, because of his versatility. He can he can go multiple innings right here and stretch him out a bit.
Well, the Cardinals are in the midst of a pretty good stretch here without a day off too. Used McClellan last night. Maybe Kyle just need a little break, because he was as sharp as we have seen him. He looked great yesterday. 0-1 pitch by Hawksworth. 1 ball, 1 strike. Underway here in the 7th. Coach Conrad is on deck. And a ground ball for Skip. He's got it. One away. Struggles continue for Nate McLeod.
Batting about under 150 now, I think, after that ground out.
And now that was a guy that when we saw him in Pittsburgh when he was at his best, you didn't see that very often. You saw him drive the baseball.
Yeah, remember he got that nice little multi-year contract. They were not expecting to trade him, but they got an offer I guess they couldn't refuse, sent him to Atlanta. Atlanta was excited to have him, but then maybe he's overexposed himself now with a better ball club. And Conrad's a switch hitter. We saw him last night go in pinch run and stay in the game to play second.
Good speed. And the first pitch, a strike. Cardinals will have Brendan Ryan, Schumacher, and Ludwig coming up. Lifted into left center field on the move. Colby Rasmus won't get it. And it's a double for Conrad.
Could tell he has good speed right there.
And it brings in Yanel Escobar. 5-2 Cardinals lead.
Johnny Venters, a lefty, warming up for the Braves. I don't recall ever seeing him, do you?
No. Sure don't. This season, the Atlanta Braves, their leadoff hitter, look at that, 0.95.
And they're on their 5th leadoff hitter already this season.
That is amazing. See that stat. 0.95. That's hit out of play.
Hawksworth he can give hitters some fits when he keeps the ball down. And he can throw a 93, 94 down around the knees. Got a very good changeup. His breaking ball is improving.
Pass Pujols into right. They'll hold up the runner at third. The tying run will come to the plate. A strong throw from Ryan Ludwig.
Set up away and the ball up. And that's what, Hawksworth becomes a lot more hittable. Albert was well off the line, but even with that, still couldn't get a glove on.
So runners at the corners with one out. Nobody getting loose in the Cardinal bullpen. Outfield is shallow for Martin Prado.
Cardinal pitchers have done a good job of keeping Martin under control. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Just 1 hit and 8 plate appearances. Came in as the leading hitter in the major leagues. Over 390, and now he's down to 377. Now Dennis Reyes gets up. Switch hitter Jones, and then the left-hand hitting McCann.
0-2 pitch. Back to Hawksworth. He's got to play at the plate. Fires it wide. And a run scores. Runner advancing to third on the play.
Well, Hawksworth fielded position fine, but then he throws a BB at Molina when he's standing about 25 feet away from it. And just handcuffed him. It was a little bit wide and added to the problems.
So fielder's choice, E1 on the play. And still only 1 out with runners at first and third. You're right, he threw a bullet here.
Comes in here, and then he just throws his BB and it's wide, but way too hard for being that close. See the umpire. Watch that he gets tangled up with Conrad as his slide goes into him and tries to roll block the umpire.
swing and a miss by Chipper Jones. Chipper tonight has walked, flied out to left, and also grounded out to first. And here comes the 0-1 pitch.
This thing's a little interesting here, doesn't it?
Sure does. Dennis Reyes just standing on the mound now out in the bullpen.
In my mind, he's already ready, or he knows he'll be ready when he enters the game to face the on-deck hitter. Hoping that they get an inning-ending double play, and you can worry about McCann next inning.
Two and two. Jones, ground ball right side. Schumacher knocks it down. Everybody's safe. Run scores. It's now 5-4. So base hit RBI for Chipper Jones. And nothing going the way of Blake Hawksworth.
And he'll be out of this game, as defensively they had Schumacher up the middle. And after a long run, he knocks it down. And by the time he recovered, it was too late to get Chipper. And Reyes will come in and face the dangerous Brian McCann.
His 10th appearance on the year. Record of 2-0. Look at that ERA, all zeros. And opponents hitting just .059 against him. And he gets Brian McCann with runners at first and second. And the Braves trailing now by a run.
Well, the good thing about Dennis Reyes is he's tied for first in the National League in straining inherited runners. He's inherited 7 prior to tonight, and none have scored. Hope that trend continues here.
1 out, 2 on.
Now, last night we saw him walk a couple. He did pick up the win, throwing a scoreless inning, but got himself in a little trouble with a couple walks, and you saw the 5 strikeouts and 4 walks in 5+ innings, but a lot of that was just last night.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. 2 balls, no strikes. It was odd. He got the first 2 outs, and then he couldn't find the plate.
Right, and escaped that little jam of his own making. Mitchell Boggs is warming up in the bullpen. There's a potential tying run out there at second. The left-handed hitter up, you can see that Brendan Ryan shadowing him and keeping him close at second. Don't let him get a good jump.
2-0 pitch. It's Martin Prado, the runner at second base. Chipper Jones at first. We've talked about how the Cardinals have relied on the home run this year to score their runs. Well, tonight, 4 of the 5 runs have been with base hits. A solo home run from Ludwig. That's hit the other way. Holiday makes the catch. Prado tagging up. Head first slide into third. So in steps Troy Gloss. Let's see if Tony goes back to the bullpen.
Boggs will come in, face Troy Gloss.
So we step aside as well. You're watching Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. In Hayward, and then facing a veteran like Reyes.
I agree with you because Mitchell Boggs, you just never know. He's got overpowering stuff at times. He can get wild at other times. If he loses Troy Gloss, say if he walks him, now you got to bring in Trevor Miller to face Hayward. You could have, right now Boggs is your third reliever this inning, and conceivably you could go through 5.
2 outs, runners at the corners, and that's pulled foul. We were talking during the break. Great point you made is the availability of a guy like Franklin. How fresh is he? Is he available to go?
Trying to monitor him. He got the final save on Sunday, the save last night. And, I don't think it would even be a problem if you asked him, but they are trying to monitor him and keep him fresh.
Last pitch at 95, and that's 1 ball, 1 strike. One thing about Franklin, his saves, when he's right, they come very quickly, and it's not a lot of, pitches that you see or, a guy that should be worn down. You just don't see that with him.
There's a slider to Gloss. Doesn't get the call. Pretty good pitch right there, and Molina kind of looked back, and makes a big difference if it's 1 ball, 2 strikes or not getting the call, and now it's currently 2 balls, 1 strike.
Molina kind of framed that a little bit odd. You wonder if that had an effect on our home plate umpire.
Fastball away. Let's see if Boggs can hit his spot.
Doesn't get the call there.
Does, but it's down.
3-1.
That's where I'm talking about. Dennis Reyes, and you alluded maybe Tony's thinking he's going to walk somebody. Well, I'd rather have him walk him. And then you got Hayward with the bases loaded than Boggs walking here and then bring in Miller.
So bases loaded.
And if you brought in the other 3, you probably got to go bring your lefty in now, don't you?
Face Hayward.
Go back that I think both of us were shocked that you took out the starter Chris Carpenter after 6 when he had a 3-run lead.
So Miller comes in a big spot to face Hayward when we come back. Okay, it's Trevor Miller for the Cardinals with the bases loaded. Hayward will be the hitter.
Trevor's been second season with the Cardinals, just brilliant last year, keeping left-handed batters to 135 average. And he needs some work. He's a little rusty as he hasn't pitched since the 21st.
Did not see him in the series against San Francisco. Pitched twice against Arizona. Prado, Jones, Gloss, they're all aboard. Bases loaded for Jason Hayward. Hayward has seen his average dip to 227. You see his number zone with runners in scoring position. Very good. Outfield straightaway and deep. First pitch, strike from Trevor Miller.
Hayward was the #1 overall prospect by Baseball America, MajorLeagueBaseball.com, and ESPN.com. Got off to a terrific start. Now he's kind of cooled off a little bit, but still very dangerous.
0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I will say one thing, Dan, as you see the numbers, just 190 against left-handers. Many times when Tony does something like take out Carpenter, the 3-run lead, trying to go get ahead, we don't know if Carpenter said, hey, I got a problem, or I've hit it a wall.
1-2.
Open has been good enough for Tony that he can trust that 3-run lead, but it's in jeopardy of evaporating here in the 7th inning.
Hayward pulls it foul. Another slider from the lefty Trevor Miller, and Hayward will see a steady diet of those.
Well, you would think he would, if he sees a fastball, it should be out of the strike zone. And really with 2, ahead in the count, 1 and 2, he probably doesn't want to throw a strike with a slider either. Get him to chase it.
0 for 2 tonight.
There's the fastball that you're making a perfect pitch outside. You're trying to get him to expand the zone. You tempt him with that fastball, but he's shown that good discipline. It's well outside, but we see a lot of guys with chase. Now you go back to that slider and just keep it away.
And he got it. Strikeout of Hayward. Miller comes in with the biggest strikeout of the night, and it's time to stretch. 5-4 Cardinals. Norm Bean Jr. And that was the home run hit by Colby. And Will Kennan is tonight's merchandise winner. The Hyundai Long Drive Inning Sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run here in the bottom of the 7th, Will Kennan qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. You can register. Visit Dean Team Hyundai or a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. Chris Medlin.
Playing for the 9th time, 0-1. Does have a hole. ERA 3.38. See more than a strikeout per inning. Opponents are batting .300 against this young man. Contract was purchased from AAA last year at $5.21.
And up the middle. They take the hit away from Brendan Ryan. That's a good play, and remember that Escobar almost robbed him earlier, and this is Martin Prado who makes the play.
Did Medlin get a little piece of that to slow it up?
May have, Al.
I didn't think initially, but then saw that first read play, and then a nice play by Martin to haul it in, jump up, the elevator throw.
Good play. There's Schumacher, who is 0 for 3. Average is dipped to 205. And hits the first pitch out of play. Two and two the count with 1 out, nobody on. On a hop to short, Escobar 2 away. Krispy Kreme doesn't deal if your St. Louis Cardinals get 12 hits today And the Cardinals right now at 6. You're invited into Krispy Kreme tomorrow to receive a dozen of their original glazed donuts for only $2.99. Stop by one of the 4 St. Louis area Krispy Kremes for this sensational deal. 2 outs, here's Ludwig. Ludwig with a double, RBI, home run, solo shot. Also grounded back to the pitcher. At that time it was Derek Lowe. First pitch, a strike, Pujols on deck. Quickly, 2 strikes on Ryan Ludwig.
Medlin not a big guy. This is 5'10", 190. Selected by the Braves in the 10th round in the 2006 June draft. Out of California. He was a winner throughout their minor league system. 15-9, good ERA under 250.
3 finals in baseball tonight, all from the American League. Minnesota beat Detroit 2-0. Tampa Bay over Oakland 8-6. Boston over Toronto 2-1. One ball and 2 strikes on Ryan Ludwig.
How about the Astros since they left town?
Played very well. Trailing tonight, though, 5-2. That's in the bottom of the 7th. Playing Cincinnati. 2-2. Swing and a miss and a strikeout of Ludwig. And we played 7 here at Busch Stadium. Cardinals lead it by 4. Over the Braves to begin this series. Trevor Miller will begin the inning as he had the key strikeout in this game, the strikeout of Hayward with the bases loaded to end the top of the 7th. Switch hitter Melky Cabrera, first pitch is taken for a ball. Cabrera had an RBI single into second, reached on an error by Schumacher in the 4th, and grounded back to the pitcher in the 6th, 1 for 3.
We're batting .095 from the right side.
Right now, Al, the Cardinals, once Miller is through, they're left with Jason Mott, Ryan Franklin, and Kyle McClellan.
Jason Mott is warming up, so if the inning gets extended.
And that's it. Can ill afford to see another 20-inning game.
I used 4 relievers in that 7th inning. And Miller's still out there.
2-2. Took a 2-0 fastball down the middle and then a check swing on a 2-1. Now 2-2. See what Miller wants to come with here on 2-2. Got him, a strikeout. 2 tonight for Trevor Miller.
Diaz is going to pinch hit from McLeod. When would that happen? Off-speed pitch and just a swing and a miss. Tony's going to make a pitching change. He's going to go through that bullpen pretty, one-run lead, a bit risky.
Great work by Trevor Miller. Mott coming in. Five to 4. The Cardinals with a 1-run lead. One out here in the 8th, and the Cardinals turn it over to the right-hander, the hard thrower, Jason Mott. And Mott in 9 games this year with an ERA now that is dipped to under 3. Opponent's hitting .286 against him.
Another move that you can kind of you understand, but you can also be a little cautious as Bobby Cox is going to use his 2 best pinch hitters. Diaz right here, and then Hinsky, a left-handed batter, on deck. Bobby Cox knows there's no more left-handers in that bullpen, and is what you worry about with Jason Mott, is his ability to throw strikes. He also has the ability to punch people out. And Diaz, very good pinch hitter over the last few years, but he's not swinging the bat real well right now.
Al, you could have anticipated that Hinsky would hit.
Oh, absolutely.
And if that's the case, you could have left Trevor Miller in to face this righty.
Well, I mean, that's what I would have done, because Trevor Miller and the Cardinals in general have done a very good job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. They've surrendered the fewest home runs of any staff in the major leagues. And you knew you were going to get, Hinsky if you brought in a right-hander. And even with Escobar, the leadoff hitter, you'd rather have that switch hitter bat right-handed also.
So 1-out walk by Mott, 4 straight pitches. Here's Hinsky. So good work by Medlin out of the bullpen for Atlanta. 1-inning pitch, and he struck out a man. No runs allowed. So 1 out and a runner at first.
Hinsky leads their club with pinch hits. He's a 4 for 11. Second on their club with a .350 batting average.
It's 5 straight balls by Mott. We've seen before, Al, where Tony has used Ryan Franklin for more than an inning, but with back-to-back games he's thrown in, certainly that won't be the case tonight, you wouldn't think.
No.
Can't find the plate. 6 straight.
Growing pains with Jason Mott. I mean, he's shown a lot of resilience and he can bounce back, but you're just not sure what you're going to get as the ability to throw strikes. There you go.
2-1. Sarcastic cheer from the crowd here at Busch Stadium.
And Hinske, like most veterans, should have taken that pitch for a strike, but now he's ready.
Will he take another? He does.
That pitch hasn't been called a strike at different times. That's been a ball, and Mott gets the benefit of the strike call.
So it's 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out and a runner at first. Mott would love the double play here. He may get it. Oh, no. Off his glove. Slides forward to first. Got him. Oh, what a play.
Give him some credit. As soon as he slid after that and wound up and started to throw, you go, uh-oh. But he threw a strike under control and throws a strike to Pujols.
He's used to throwing from that crouch position.
He's a former catcher. And ball running away from there, off his glove. But he scrambles after it, and they're throwing almost from a prone position.
Now look at he's sliding when he's throwing this. How athletic is that?
Well, look at, he just had enough to get up on his, balance himself up on the knees and to stay elevated or upright long enough to get a strike there. And what a heck of a play.
So 2 outs, runner at second. Tying run in scoring position in this 5-4 game, and you get Escobar here, who's now hitting under 200.
Yeah, but he's under 100 batting right-handed, the switch hitter. So right now it's all academic if Mott can get him out.
He singled in the 7th and scored a run. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Escobar with a fly ball into right. Ludwig with room. He's got it. Bottom of the 8th coming up. 5-4 St. Louis. Drinkability of Bud Light with the refreshing taste of lime. By AT&T Uverse, a better TV experience. Visit AT&T.com for details. And by Bank of America, Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. Big bats, and they're going to face a hard thrower still in Billy Wagner, who signed a 1-year deal with the Atlanta Braves, closing in on 400 saves. But the Braves are mired in a losing streak, and he hasn't pitched in quite some time.
Well, he hadn't pitched in a week, but it just gives you an idea of how they've struggled to score runs and have leads. As last time he pitched last Tuesday, he was the winner of that game. But Billy the Kid still can get it up there. That was 95 as he's recovered from Tommy John surgery.
All those great years in Houston. Then he was with the Phillies, signed with New York, finished up last year with Boston. And he can still flat out bring it. Diaz takes over the left field. 1 ball, 1 strike on Pujols. Potentially passed. He is singled, and he's also grounded out. The high fly ball into right. Hayward makes the catch. No activity right now in the Cardinals bullpen.
Well, we've been told that there are going to be times when Ryan Franklin's not available and it's going to fall on the shoulders of Mott or maybe a little bit of everyone. One of the 2 left-handers. You know, you're going to get McClellan will get some shots. Hawksworth, everybody down there is eligible. Boggs will pick up a save opportunity, and it looks like it's going to be Mott here tonight.
Pitch at 96 right past Holiday.
Well, Billy Wagner is only one of 2 left-handers all time to record at least 1,000 strikeouts. The other is Jesse Orosco, and he has 385 career saves. It's 6th in the all-time list.
Ouch.
Oh, that's got to hurt, doesn't it? Oh, on the toe in a cold night.
Crowd tonight of 35,587. Oh.
Lift up that leg. You got to put it down before you can move. Right on top of the foot.
Al, am I right in saying that some hit by pitches look worse than others? They look like they just hurt. That one looked like it just really hurt. Ouch.
Well, it didn't hurt me any more than the other ones, but I think Holiday might disagree. And say, yeah, that I felt that one. He says he's all right.
He says he's all right. Now Colby Rasmus. It'll be a tough matchup here for Colby. Lefty-lefty and a guy like Wagner.
Well, keep that front shoulder in. Look for the opposite field.
Holiday about a 2-step lead. Rasmus tonight walked his last time up, scored a run. He's been called out on strikes and also flied out to deep left. 1 out, runner at first. Here comes a 1-0 pitch. Billy Wagner came up back in 1995. Appeared in 1 game for Houston that season. 37 the next.
Remember, Dan, he broke his right arm. He was right-handed. Broke his right arm as a youth, and then learned how to pitch left-handed as a result. And I think it was a good move.
He's out of Marion, Virginia. Pitched at a small university, Ferrum University in Virginia. Here's 3-0 pitch. Bobby Cox and the Braves saw him with the Mets last year, and they said, boy, this guy could still bring it. If he becomes available, let's get him, and they did.
And he's probably a very good influence on those young relievers down there, too.
Walk to Colby, his 2nd of the night. Let's revisit our 5 in 55, which we had at the top of the telecast. Eric Lowe, 5 1/3. Molina, 1 for 3. The big hit, a couple of RBIs. Prado 0 for 4. Chipper goes 1 for 3. 7 and 8 tonight. 1 for 6. 8th place hitter tonight, the pitcher for the Cardinals at the start of the game. And here's Molina with runners at first and second.
Well, David Freese was 1 for 3 with that RBI, and Brendan Ryan, moving from the 8th to the 9th spot, was 1 for 3. So it did work.
Good rip by Molina.
It's the one-on-one battle. Pitcher against hitter. Go out there and have a little fun. You know you're going to get a fastball in your bat. Just can you do anything with it? And after you get that fastball, you're going to see a breaking ball.
It's inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Billy Wagner consistently around 95, 96. Still throwing hard.
Not a big guy at all, but very powerful legs. Generate a lot of that velocity.
You watch him now just whip the ball. From the time that it's about released to where it's released, and then how he comes through and just lets it rip. And then he's got that big leg drive towards the plate.
You could steal off of him. See, they're all playing back and everything, but Yachty right now on the hot streak coming up with key hits, so they may not send the runners.
2-1 pitch. 2-2. It still is fun to watch guys like this, those power throwers.
Well, you just like that challenge. Here it is. I'm going to come right after you. He'll incorporate off-speed pitches, but it's pretty much if I'm going to get beat, I'm going to get beat on my best pitch, and that's his fastball.
Now the question for Tony, do you stay with Mott in the 9th, or do you go with Franklin, and you're left with McClellan out there as well?
Well, McClellan's warming up. Is just, you might get into a scenario as you look down here, you could have a scoring opportunity, and so you just maybe took the chance back in the 6th inning to add to it. It didn't work that time, but you already had a 3-run lead. You went to your bullpen, and if you can score a couple more runs, you go to the pinch hitter.
Strikeout of Molina. The 2-2 pitch. It's up to Freese. Now there's so many things you can think about here. You get to a point, we'll see the last pitch by Billy Wagner, where if you don't use Mott, so he'd be out of the game, you're down to 2 left in a 1-run game. The other thing that if you're Tony, maybe you're saying if Franklin is in your mind unavailable, you go with McClellan, and his body of work yesterday was so good, bring him back tonight.
Well, I'm just watching Kyle McClellan, and Mott's going to start the inning because Kyle's really not throwing. He's throwing a couple pitches, but it was not with any maximum effort. So he will be their insurance for Mott if he gets into trouble.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to David Freese. Nick Stavinoa has moved to the on-deck circle.
And McClellan will kind of watch along here. If the inning gets extended and you pinch hit for Mott, the on-deck hitter, obviously he's coming in, but
blew it right by him. So strikeouts in the inning for Billy Wagner. 9th inning rolls in when we come back.
For the 9th at Busch Stadium. Don't forget, coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Rick Horton are standing by. Yachty comes through in the clutch once again. Luddy has himself a huge game, and they'll break down Carpenter's curve. It's all coming up after the game. For now, it's back to the booth and Dan and Al, guys.
How about that? Jim has his own sign here at the ballpark, and away we go. This is Martin Prado. 5-4 Cardinals.
And now it's up to Mott as nobody warming up. McClellan's not warming up. He's looking for his second major league save.
Little flare in the right. Caught by Ludwig. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cardinals.
Gets his second save, the first of this year. He had one last year. He'll earn it. Going through the heart of the order.
Would he ever? Here's Chipper. Chipper Jones. Been on base twice with a walk and a single.
I don't know if it's good or bad for Mott having to pitch more than one inning. You know, a high energy guy that sometimes you don't want him to get out of control. And so after you escape the jam in the 8th inning, you got to sit down and regroup. It might be the best thing for him, or it could be the worst thing.
Al, I'm not sure if he took a seat. Knowing Mott.
Well, we throwed him in the dugout. He was standing.
He was pacing back and forth, the jacket on.
That's been a real calming influence as a catcher.
3-0 on Chipper Jones. If he would walk him. Well, McClellan is sat down, but you were thinking that maybe Tony would bring in Kyle McClellan.
Now, I would have thought that Kyle never really warmed up in earnest, but I'm sure he's close enough to where he could get ready quickly.
And that's a walk. Tying run is on. Go-ahead run comes to the plate. Brings in catcher Brian McCann. And let's take a look at our player of the game tonight. Ryan Ludwig, 2 for 4. Our Budweiser player of the game. Solo home run, double, couple of RBIs. Will it be enough, though? Cardinals are 2 outs away. First pitch is strike to McCann. He's called out on strikes, grounded out to third, singled in the 6th, then flied out to left in the 7th.
I said last night, probably the best offensive catcher in the National League, and I don't think you'd argue with that, would you?
No. Good pitch, just missed. Think about Russell Martin.
Yeah, but McCann is, he's been doing it.
That's ripped and foul.
Brian McCann last season led all National League catchers with 21 home runs, 94 RBIs. And since the start of the 06 season, he leads all catchers in home runs, 88, extra base hits, 243, doubles, 151. I don't like this part. Game-winning RBIs, 53, and RBIs, 373.
Al, be quiet over there.
Well, so that's what he's done, but not tonight.
1-2 the count.
It was a cutter, a slider that was hit hard by Pujols, but stayed foul.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Mott would love the double play. Cardinals would love the double play.
97 with that last fastball. Yachty wanted inside. It was up and away. Fastball in.
Popped up. Molina. Or will it be Pujols? Albert makes the catch. And Yachty is saying thank you.
Oh, yeah.
It's a major league pop-up right there, partner.
Yeah, and it's so much easier for Albert with that hinge glove, a first baseman's glove, rather than the catcher's glove and looking straight up. Troy Glaus in his time has been a Cardinal killer, but he's 0 for 2 tonight, a pair of strikeouts, sandwiched around a couple walks. He shouldn't be able to catch up with a high fastball, a high-octane fastball. Fastball away. Keep the ball away from him. Good start. 96 right on the black, down the way.
2 walks, 2 strikeouts tonight for Troy Glaus.
Same pitch, fastball away.
The 0-1.
97.
What are you thinking here, Al?
If I get beat, I get beat on my best pitch, and that's a fastball. And breaking ball is improving, but just you don't have to throw a strike. Go out of ways, same thing. Just expand it a little bit further. 98 should try to overthrow that one, but up there, the only thing it's going to do is a pop up or swing and miss. So he's still in the driver's seat. Even if Troy tries to catch up to that fastball, I don't think he can catch up unless if he keeps it away from him. That's the whole key. Keep it away from him, preferably down.
1-2, hit out of play.
Ball over the middle, but he still can't catch up.
Atlanta trying to avoid their 7th straight loss tonight.
Very deep. Don't allow any ball over your head. Right now, that runner at first is the tying run. There's a slider. Not going to get hurt there. It's a ball, but that's
good pitch.
Good pitch. And good hitting from Troy Glaus. Just look at that pitch. 2 strikes. He's got to protect the plate, though. Fastball away. Still can't catch up to it. People criticize the home run that Mott gave up to Johnny Gomes, in Cincinnati. But that was, a different situation. Threw 6 straight fastballs. It wasn't the problem with throwing 6 straight fastballs. The problem was the location on the 6th one. It was up. It was on the inner part of the plate, and something he could turn on in that very small ballpark in Cincinnati. He keeps on keeping the ball away. The pitches he's fouled have been over the middle of the plate, but they're not inside. Curveball, first time we tried this. Not
3-2.
Not bad. But now you allow the runner at first base to take off with a pitch, and a base hit now could possibly score the runner from first base. Pipper's got a bad hip and also an oblique. A fastball, old-fashioned hard ball.
3-2, hit in the air. It's popped up. Pujols is over and runs out of room.
He got that ball out where he wanted, but the only thing that Glaus could do is a defensive swing. Got a piece of it. My mind, just keep on doing the same thing. Just go away from it. Right now he's showing pretty good success of hitting that spot down and away. Same thing he's calling for.
Loss hits it out to deep left center field. It should stay in the park. It will. Holliday's got it. Cardinals have another win. Win number 13. An eventful finish, but nonetheless, a win. 5-4, St. Louis.